Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us for this special live session. I'm Itzik Amiel, and we are here with a weekly sweet series, Switch It On, as we call it, where we share ideas, insight, and inspiration actually to help you as a professional to switch relationships to revenue, referrals, and reputation and stand out in a crowded marketplace. And you are invited. So if you're watching it now live and you see it, join us. It is live. You are very welcome. Because today we're going to talk about the hedgehog concept. And I know some of you are already curious because I got some emails from people. What are you talking about? I'm going to talk about specifically how to use the hedgehog concept in building your personal brand. But before we start, as always, please keep if you want, I would be happy to see who you are with me and see you joining. So thank you for that. For typing in the chat box your name and where you're dialing from so we all know where you are, who you are, and where you're joining us from. So just type it in the chat in the LinkedIn Live, and we'll be happy to see who you are, to share it with everybody else. See, if you could choose to be a fox or a hedgehog, which one you rather be? Think about it a second. Maybe you want to type it in the chat box. Which one you want to be, a fox or a hedgehog? You know, hedgehog are quiet. Many people, thinking and when you're asking this question, many people choose to be a fox. Why? Because after all, foxes are beautiful, maybe sleek and cunning. And hedgehogs are, quite the opposite. They may be slow, they are quiet and plodding. In his famous essay, The Hedgehog and the Fox, Isaiah Berlin divided the world into hedgehogs and fox based upon the ancient Greek parable that says the fox knows many things, but the hedgehog knows one big thing. And he argued that the foxes pursue many goals and interests at the same time, and as a result, their thinking is scattered and unfocused. And ultimately, they achieve very little. While on the other side, hedgehog, however, simplify the world and focus on a single overarching vision which they can achieve. So, yeah, probably asking, Itzik, what do foxes and hedgehogs have to do with personal brand? Fair question. In short, I'll answer you everything. Okay? And you probably want to know more because business researcher and consultant Jim Collins developed the idea in his classic book in 2001 called Good to Great. I recommend you very much to read that good. Why a law firm should not even have values and vision and mission. Maybe should have more values. Maybe should have more specific goal, right? That's maybe more interesting, and Good Together is very good for that. But Collins in his book argued that organizations will more likely succeed if they identify the one thing they can do best. And that's what he called the hedgehog concept. So when applying this concept in building your personal brand, when you identify your hedgehog concept, you should devote all of your energy and resources to pursuing it. Now, Collins argues in his book that when the going gets tough, it's the organization that focus on that what they're good at, the hedgehog concept, that they survive and thrive. And I will argue in this episode that when the going gets tough, it's the professionals that focus on what they're good, build a strong personal brand, stand out. These are the professionals who survive and thrive. And that's why I want you to listen to me today, because I want you to learn how do you apply the hedgehog concept to build a strong personal brand. And this is exactly what I want to share with you in this episode, my friends. How do you apply the hedgehog concept to build your personal brand? But before I go deeper to explain, first I want again to call all of you there who are joining me now. And I see Diana, Alex, Rajesh, Rabeli, Mord, Dalevinio, Jorg, David, Jalenios, Goverdo, Gustavo. Thank you very much for all of you joining me now. I mean, I see you from all over the world, but please type in the chat box where you're dialing from so I will know and I'll share it with everybody else. By the way, it will also be seen you're going to see. And of course, if you have any question during this session, when I'm speaking, sharing with you, please feel free to type it in as well in the chat, and I'll be happy to answer you. Those of you joining us now, we're speaking on the hedgehog, or using the hedgehog concept in building your personal brand. And that's the title of today. And I'm happy you're joining us and you're finding the time on your busy time, maybe on your vacation, to join us. So let's start by answering, I said, the first question. How do you apply the hedgehog concept to build a strong personal brand? Based on the same book of Jim Collins, Good to Great, that refer to finding organization hedgehog concept, you can find your personal branding, your personal brand hedgehog concept. That's my opinion. But making 3 separate assessments. What are these assessments? Assessment number 1, I want you to do is understanding what are you truly passionate about. Don't worry, I'm still going to explain more, okay? But that's assessment number 1. The second assessment you have to do is you need to identify what do you do better than anybody else? What do you do better than anybody else? And the third assessment is you need to determine where you are good at generating revenue. Where you're good at generating revenue. And I'll go on each of them a little bit to explain, but these are the 3 assessments or part of the hedgehog concept that's explained by Jim Collins that I will suggest to you to use in order to accelerate the building of your personal brand. And Collins, by the way, called that understanding your economic engine. Now, where all the 3 answers overlap, like if you know Venn diagram, where all the 3 circles are overlap, that's what we call the sweet spot, for your personal brand focus. That's exactly the place where you should focus your personal brand. And I suggest you listen carefully, because that's how you accelerate the growth of your own personal brand. Thank you very much. I see that, Matt, for your kind word. Always great to hear from you, Itzik. Matt from Northern Carolina. Thank you very much, Matt. Awesome that you're joining us. So, again, everything I'm going to speak to you today is simple, but not so easy. And I know that. That's why I want to listen carefully, because I will teach you how to apply all these assessments, and it will help you accelerate, as I said, your personal brand. Now, based on my mentoring and helping thousands of professionals around the world and so many years of doing it, let's look at each assessment in detail so you'll be able to right away implement it. And I took every lesson people tell me a question to include so it will be more clear to you. And I hope, again, if you have any question, type it in the chat box and I'll be happy to answer it as well during that session. And I want to examine the step that you can take to apply the hedgehog concept to your personal brand. Nobody else, your personal brand, okay? We agreed. I hope you are with me. If you are with me, if you're just joining now, please type in your name in the chat box. I know you are. I know you're joining us. I can see you coming, but I want everybody to know that you are with us in the room. And again, if you have any question, type it in the chat box. Those of you joining us now, I see that some people are joining. We're speaking about using the hedgehog concept in building your personal brand. Yes, the hedgehog concept, as I said, and we'll explain right away what do I mean by it. Okay? So the first step number 1 is find your passion. Step number 1 is find your passion. Think about what you feel passionate about at work. What gets you up in the morning and keeps you working late voluntarily? What is it? Got thinking. Okay. Now consider what your people feel most excited about. How does the purpose of your practice inspire you? What is the purpose of your practice inspire you? And what motivations and values do you look in your professional life? I mean, each one of us has different things. That's why I want you to think about your own motivation, your own values, because all these should get you to find your current passions. See, it's important to know that it's not about trying to create a passion, but rather discovering it, because I believe each one of us have already passion. I just want you to discover them to help you accelerate your personal brand. And nothing great can happen without passion. So if you're not passionate, you will not stick to your hedgehog concept. And that's what's very important, the first assessment, to find what are you passionate about? When you encounter your obstacles, if you don't do, and therefore you will not have the energy to, and fortitude to really do what it takes to transcend from good to great and to stand out. And that's why it's so important to understand the passion. Okay? I hope you'll do that. I know you don't have time to do it now, but do it afterwards. But that brings us to the second step of finding your hedgehog concept to accelerate your personal brand. Again, type if you want any ask any question. I see people sending me email. Don't type it in the chat box here in LinkedIn, and I'll answer it right away live to you on the spot. And again, if you're joining right now, type your name and where you're dialing from also in the chat so we all could see that you joining us. Okay, great, awesome. So step number two, we're in step number two of understanding the hedgehog concept and implying. Step number two is understanding what do you do best. Remember, that's the second assessment we wanted to do. Understanding what do you do best. This assessment really help you to aim and understand what you can do better than anyone else. And I guarantee you, each one of us can do at least one thing better than anybody else. See, if you cannot be number one in the world on this area, what you do best, then this could be your hedgehog concept, because it's exactly where it is. Okay? So let me be clear. This is not what you hope to be the best at or what you aim to be the best at, but what you actually are already best at or can very easily become best at if you focus your energies on it or if you compare with your peers. Okay? So it's not what you want or what you hope, it's what you actually now or really in a very split, very easily you can become the best at. Okay, and that's what you have to focus when you do the second assessment. And it's also important to know what you will never be best at. That's what helps you as well to know what you're best at, right? So if you know what you're not best at, you'll be able to find what you're best at. And be honest when you consider these weaknesses, because remember that nothing being the best in certain area, not being the best in certain area, it's okay. It's nothing wrong with it. Understanding what you could be good at is far more powerful. And that's when you know what you're not best, hopefully you'll give you closer to what you could be best or what you are best. I can assure you it can be done with a few daily simple practice. We don't have the time here. So if you want to connect me afterwards, send me a PM and I'll help you out. But definitely we could find those things because you're already doing it. And you just have to distill it out of your personality. And I hope you'll do it by yourself to find what you are good, what you're best at. Again, if you have questions, type it in the chat box. I'll answer it. So if something not clear or, if I speak too fast for you, please type in. And again, if you're joining just now, it's never too late. Introduce yourself, put your name and the chat box where you're dialing from so we all know you're here with us in the room. And a lot of you I know see you in the room, but you're not dialing in. So okay, don't be shy. Put your name. By doing it, by the way, you're also standing out of the crowd, helping your personal brand because thousands of others see you're here in the room. Okay, great. So that brings me to the third assessment and the step 3 that we talked about when you want to build the hedgehog concept in your own personal brand. And if you remember what I said, the assessment number 3, based on Jim Collins' book, is discovering your economic engine. Discovering your economic engine. See, to have a powerful economic engine, you must understand how to generate profitability while building your personal brand, because you're not building your personal brand for decoration in the museum, right? You're doing it because of business, because you want to stand out. You want to be people to know you, that you can help them. You can be a value added. So how do you generate profitability while building your personal brand? And that takes us really to the next step to understand it. And understanding how to look for the overlap. And soon I'm going to talk about it, because when you have an overlap between all the 3 assessments, what your passion, what you are the best at, and what exactly your economic engine we stuff, then you could find the overlap. And overlap is where, according to Jim Collins, where you build your hedgehog concept, where you could accelerate your personal brand. Because once you look at all the 3 circles, what you're deeply passionate about, what you can do the best in the world at, and what best drive your economic and resource engine, look where all of them overlap. That's where you'll find your Hedgehog concept, the central vision that could guide you to a personal branding strategy. Now, don't worry if your Hedgehog concept isn't obvious right away, okay? It takes time, and you can do that, and you should constantly doing it and do it maybe again and again. You may have to do that, some additional analysis or explore different combination. That's fine. But when you do that and you play with it, you'll know what? It's very easy to find this dominant, the overlap place, and to find this core vision that really works best for you, for your personal brand, for your practice, for your professional practice. Okay. So that's step number 4, look up the overlap. And I didn't finish yet because there's another step number 5. Again, I want to thank the people joining us, Diana, and I see Alessia and Brain and Dovin, and I cannot pronounce him, Augolabulu, and Putanya and Solomon. I mean, I see a lot of people joining us now. It's not too late. We are talking about the Hedgehog concept, how to apply it to build your personal brand. And actually, you're coming now in step number 5. After I mentioned the 3 assessments you have to do, I'm going to talk about the last step in using the Hedgehog concept to support your personal brand. Step number 5 is review and communicate your strategy. Seems obvious, but once you've found the area of overlap between the 3 circles, as I mentioned, look at your existing personal branding strategy. If you have one, hopefully, or if not, of course, you can always come to get my help. But hopefully you build a personal brand strategy or you have it. And I want you to ask yourself whether it aligns with your Hedgehog concept you just found, with your strategy or personal brand, what you're thinking about building or what you want to correct. Does it align with your Hedgehog concept? If the results of your analysis are likely to result in a significant shift in your personal brand, in your strategy that you had before, it's essential to plan and manage this change effectively because you really want to robust personal brand. You cannot change it every day. Okay? But if not, if it does not change, keep it. It's great. It just got another confirmation that you're building the right personal brand, authentic, sincere, and real for you, not for anybody else. So these are the 5 steps to apply the Hedgehog concept to your personal brand. Now, can you be a hedgehog in your practice and while building your brand? Think about it. Can you boil it down into one remarkable thing that you can do? If you can focus like a hedgehog, you might just find that your growth will realize itself without much pain, any angst, or effort. This is the power of the Hedgehog concept. I mean, it's not only in personal, but also in organization, the firm. You can use it for the firm brand as well. And that's proven to be that organization who implemented it, they're the one who stand out. But I can promise you also when you use it for your personal brand, it will done without pain, without angst, without effort, you'll stand out. So what are you waiting, right? Go and try it for yourself because I promise you, if you just implemented 3 assessment, ask yourself the question, be serious, answer them, find the overlap, and check it out if it match your personal brand strategy or not, you'll be on the right way to build amazing personal brand for yourself and stand out of the crowd. Now, I'm not sure if you have any questions. If you have any questions still, you're very welcome to ask it right now on the chat box. So you have an opportunity to ask me before I'm summarizing this beautiful session. And I know it's a new concept to a lot of you. That's why I kept it simple and very tangible that you could implement right away. And that's my intention on those sessions. So if you have any question, please type in the chat box. But the essence of the Hedgehog concept, if you listen carefully, is when you find the interactions, as you heard me saying it several times today, what you could do better than anybody else, what best drives your economic engine, and what you are passionate about. All the 3 assessments, if you do them, that's where the Hedgehog concept will be found. And if you make a lot of money doing what you can never be the best at, you only build maybe a successful personal brand, but not a great one. And if you are the best at something, but don't have a passion about it, you will never remain on top. And finally, if you only have a passion for something, but you cannot be the best at it, or it doesn't make any economic sense, it'll be a lot of fun, maybe a hobby, but you won't produce great results. And that's the reason you need all the free assessment to build a very tangible, practical, with great results personal brand. Not just personal brand in the air. A lot of people, they're teaching us personal brand, those theories. I want you to be practical to you, things that attract client to you. Select the client for you. You don't have to chase anybody. That's the power of personal brand. To achieve a great personal brand, you have to understand all the three circles. Now, as a summary, let me make an important distinction. If you listen carefully, I want you to listen to the following. The Hedgehog Concept is not a goal to be the best, or a strategy to be the best, or any intention to be the best, a plan to be the best. None of them. It is an understanding of what you could be the best at. This distinction is absolutely crucial, because every professional like you and me would like to be the best in something, right? You agree? We all. But few actually understand with piercing insight and egoless clarity what they actually have the potential to be the best at. And just as important, what they cannot be the best at. And that's very much important distinction for me here. It's not based on ego and all kind of selfish things that many people think personal brand. It's absolutely not. It's finding who you are, the real you, the authentic you, makes your life easier to attract the right client and get rid of the rest. And it is this distinction I mentioned, that stands as one of the primary constructs between the good to great professionals and the comparison professionals. You can see that all the time in the market and work with people. And in other words, to become a hedgehog, it's not about what you want to be the best at, because every professional wants to be the best, right? To achieve hedgehog understanding and to build your personal brand, you have to identify what you are or can be the best at, and making the conscious decision to stick to the one thing without distraction. This consistently, to stick to the one thing without distraction, will build your personal brand faster than you can ever imagine. And I truly believe that the good to great professionals understood that doing what you're good at will only make you good. But focusing slowly what you could potentially do better than any other professional is the only path to standing out with a great personal brand. To summarize this great session, let me share a wonderful quote by Jim Collins himself from the book, who said, "Growth is not a hedgehog concept. Rather, if you have the right hedgehog concept and make decision relentlessly consistent with it, you will create such a momentum that your main problem will not be how to grow, but how not to grow too fast." And that's the beauty about it, because it's acceleration model of your personal brand. And if you do it, you will thank me afterward, I promise you. So now, my friend, it's time to take action and implement everything you learned in this session. I'm not sure if you have any other question or you want to ask a question. You still have not right in time now to type it in the chat box. I trust you got some interesting insight on using the Hedgehog concept in building your personal brand, and the implementation I did on building your firm brand into your personal brand. If you need our help in implementing it in your practice, in your career, or if you just want to learn how to build authenticity, your authority and your personal brand and stand out, this is exactly what we do for our clients, professionals like you and me around the world. So we train them, we mentor them, and even doing the work for them. Yeah, if you're busy, there's also a solution for that. Send me an email or PM message to let me see how can I help you, etc. And next week, we have another amazing top expert to discuss a new practical strategy to grow your practice and building better relationships, reputations, and referrals. And if you want to make sure you never miss one of our weekly Switch On interview series, I suggest warmly to you to follow me on LinkedIn or go to the Switch Hub website, which is the link I'm going to put to you right away on the screen so you can see. It's hub.theswitch.ch. And when you get there, you sign in, you get my new business development strategies and tips. Check and register to one of my new online courses and live workshop coming in under the courses there on the website. You have a beautiful new courses on networking with results and Compass networking in how do you do it in the conferences, online and offline. And you're very welcome, by the way, again, to send me a PM or email to ask any question you have, my dear friends. So again, I hope I added value today as well to you in your practice. For now, I want to thank you because I don't know if do I see any questions? I don't see any questions from anybody except for Matt. Thank you very much that you participating and I appreciate you. Thank you very much, Matt, for your compliment. I hope I'm happy you liked it. And I'm not sure anybody else. If nobody else, any other question, what I want to say is I want to thank you, each one of you, for being here, for participating, to listening. I will see you, everyone, next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central European Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time. And remember, it's never too late to switch on your Hedgehog concept to build your own personal brand. Thank you, everybody, for now. And I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.